the issue of Shield Alert, so I started working on it. And what we are probably 3 months into Don's Shield campaign right now, and we've got some interest in 2 lawmakers at the state and federal level who are starting to look at our case, but still no interest from the media. This has always been a huge barrier for us, is to get media attention for these Shield campaigns. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, because I don't want to steal too much of Yutong's time. I think I've already kind of gone over my share of the time. And so I do want to introduce you to Yutong. Yutong's pronouns are she and they. Yutong is associated with the University in New York, and I've forgotten. Yutong will have to tell you herself, and forgive me, Yutong. Yutong is a mathematician and does a lot of computer work, and has recently started volunteering for Mind Freedom, which I'm very grateful for. I'm very excited maybe to work with Yutong on updating our website and our communications platforms. But yeah, so I just want to turn it over to her now, and maybe if there's questions for the remainder of what I said, maybe we could, Yutong and I can take those questions together, however Eric wants to do that.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
With you, Yutong. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Now can you see my screen?
We can, but it's so small. It needs to be spotlighted. And Enrique, you know how to spotlight her screen in Google?
Yes.
Yeah, then you do it. I can see if I can get the camera working.
Well, I can see your screen, but it's too small. They need, like, maybe I need to change my view on my end so I can see it better.
I will also work on the settings. Now is the spotlight. If we silence the mic, he's gonna be on top, and I will work to make it better if I can.
Okay. Meanwhile,
okay,
we can hear you great, Yutong.
Yeah, okay. Then I don't think I can get the camera working. I tried so hard, but yeah. So so a quick introduction for myself. I'm a mathematician and a researcher in the formal sciences. Interested in formal methods, in also the application of formal methods in all sorts of things. I'm also a human rights advocate. I'm from China, the bad one, People's Republic of China. I'm a political dissident here. Right now, I'm seeking asylum in New York while working on various projects and initiatives with SUNY Stony campus. I'm here to primarily talk about the political abuse and all sorts of abuse of psychiatry in China. And also from what I heard for the past hour, I'm adding 2 more things. One is the cybernetics in the abilifying cyber ethics in the abilify my site. So I think I would mention a little bit about that because I heard of these past stories about how like basically, as I put it in the chat, one technology, any kind of technology, when it gets abused by people with malintentions, it can like from the history of my country, we know that it can cause insane calamities such as genocidal calamities. And then also I will talk a little bit, if time allows, I just thought about formal methods in neurosciences, but those are the things that I'm in the later I will be pursuing. So like if you are interested in it, let me type my here's my contact information if you are interested in talking to me. Okay. So I guess with the content like I discussed with Enrique, I'm first of all going to talk about this person. Like oh, that's the this person. So Sarah used to talk about how her campaign was about doxing psychiatrists. That's a not a so. Yeah, I'm doxing this bad psychiatrist. No, they are so like basically. Here's the summary. China has all sorts of social problems, and they cause mental health crisis on a lot of people, young people, old people alike, all population, all demographics. And the way we deal with it, well, our bad administration dealt with it, it's to blame things. And then in the first decade of this century, there are campaigns to blame video games. They created a pseudoscientific diagnosis of addiction to the internet, and then they put in researchers like air quotes researchers and doctors into how they treat it, and the way they treat it is through just as you are introduced by Sarah and by previous previous presenters, abuse of psychiatry through authoritarianism, through abuse of authorities, through taking away people's rights, and in this case, well, I guess ours is a very outdated electroconvulsive therapy that's without anesthesia. So that practice has fallen out of use for a long time in like Europe or America, and I guess I want to bring the person who is behind these atrocities to the light, and then I don't think I have the time to go very deep on the history of the person, but like if you Google their name, there are some well translated information regarding them. There are also more instead of academic or more like how should I say, literary or artistic representation of this piece of history in my country, in terms of fictions or very ironically video games. And yeah, that's the first person. And the second one, I want to talk about why China wants to, like, we create situations about our government, the Chinese Communist Party creates situations that deliberately worsens the general population's life quality, which includes mental health situations, and they will use different kinds of methods, such as anti-religion campaigns, persecution of religious minorities, and if you know about Enrique was very interested about that, like if you are interested in the feminist side, so basically, well, that's another long cultural and political issue, but basically, with the one-child policy, with the control, with their horrible campaign on controlling the explosion of our population, they had this campaign called the 100 Days with No Child. Basically, it's forcibly sterilizing people, like underprivileged people, underprivileged population, who do not respect their reproductive policies, which is a horrible direct perpetration to people's basic human rights of reproductive autonomy. It's called 100 Days with No Child. Like that's a big umbrella term for all sorts of campaign, like one-child policy campaign about basically well killing newborns, killing newborn infants, and then for sterilization, and then like I would not show any the like images or footage or or explicit documents description of that. If you are interested in that, you can look at that. And then I also I think 1st of October people talk Enric invited other people to talk about abuse of organ transplant systems, like live organ harvesting, and also the zero COVID policy. I guess in terms of the zero COVID policy and its intersection with the human rights abuses, and especially with the political abuse of psychiatry, I had a person writing a monologue that I translated. I put it in this document for you if you want to hear there's very tragic, very sad, and very enraging story about the mental health situation in China during the past 3 years, from 2020 to 2010 to early this year, about the zero COVID policy and its implication on the general populations and the dissident communities, mental health in general. I guess, yeah, I wouldn't probably go into details about that. And then just to mention a little bit about Abilify My Site, I just heard of it today, but I figured out I Googled out all of this information. I would very much, so my work, one branch of my research works in the formal verification of information systems. It's basically you're writing mathematical proofs about computer softwares and hardwares to show that they satisfy a specific specification, and also with verified computing, like protection of people's privacy, of course, which includes different judicials, medicals, consumers, and their privacies. And then these are the works that can be put into place. Basically, you're writing mathematical proofs saying that there is no and unintentional mal-designed code in your computer system. I will that's a it's also it's very technical, so I wouldn't bore you a lot, but formal methods is a potential solution, a future for the research of cyber ethics in a lot of things. I just want to bring let me bold this formal methods. That's another thing that I just realized that I can mention. And then formal methods in neurosciences, there is also a lot of advances in that, because we are trying very hard to figure out what different kinds of, probably Enric, since they are going through they're going through a training for health science or medical practices. I think they will much better understand how neurotransmitters affect people's mental states or things like that. So basically, here's the catchphrase: we know nothing. We know nothing about how human brains work. What's with Abilify, aripiprazole, or the first generation haloperidol or pamfluridol, or these kinds of neuroleptic antipsychotics, they are doing basically almost nothing beyond guesswork. So that's bad, and we want to figure out a way to utilize formal methods, computational methods in neurosciences to make up some kind of explanation, or if we don't, we want to present a proof to stop bad practices in mental health care globally. That's, I guess, that's some of the things, the more research stuff that I want to talk about. Okay, great. I have 10 minutes with Sarah together to take questions.
Hello.
Thank you
so much.
I have a question about the Abilify, because that's the drug that the person I told you about, Don DeZuba. Oh, excuse me. Whoever has people talking in the background, could they please mute their?
It's your Yutong.
Or is it me?
I think you.
We do believe, yeah. Sorry about that.
Okay. Go ask the question.
Okay. So my question has to do with Abilify, because that's the drug that Don DeZuba, the person who's at the center of the SHIELD campaign I described, that's the drug she's being subjected to. So there's now this new drug. It's a depot injection. She's being subjected to a depot injection. And you rightly pointed out that that is the drug that got approval from the Food and Drug Administration, the corrupt United States watchdog for drugs. It got approval to, I don't know, for a limited population of people. I don't know under what circumstances this new Abilify depot injection will be used, but supposedly it's traceable. And I'm going to assume that maybe it's traceable because once it's in your stomach, it's subjected to a different pH, and maybe the pH activates some kind of radio signal that then talks to the app on your psychiatrist's phone. So I don't know the mechanics of it, but I'd be curious to know what the mechanics of it are, how people can hack it. And since you brought up there's privacy concerns, ethics concerns, I would like to go in on that a little bit. Because if a doctor has some kind of bioengineered device that he can monitor the compliance of his patients, that seems very, very futuristic and very ominous to me, like kind of like George Orwellian, I guess you could say.
Okay. So I think so. Depot is I think my site is a chip for the tablet form of this drug. It's
okay, interesting.
That because the injection is usually it's not done by the patient or the caregivers themselves. I don't think it makes sense for you to, and I don't even know is it possible for you to put a chip in the injection.
Okay.
But in terms of I can do some at-place research mechanism of action, how the chip works. But for example, as I would probably say somebody has already figured out how the mechanism works or how to hack it. Yeah, that's there. When it comes to different kinds of computer scientists or technological people, they are really radical in a sense. They see something bad, they are going to do things about it. Don't worry about it. I will give you some documents about it. And if it's in a pill, I don't think they can put very, very complicated things into it. And also, yes, about the ethics parts. For example, the tracking data from the chip, it definitely cannot be shared to anyone. That's just a very fundamental principle thing in cyber ethics. You can't share. Think about the we heard some story about how Apple or some kind of thing, they want to put a cerebral okay, give me sorry. Okay, so they are trying to measure the person, their users' brain electric activity, and then collect data from it. That's also very, very horrible. That's against the principle of all sorts of things, and it's definitely not acceptable to do stuff like that.
And just so we're clear, Yutong, when I say hack, hack that Abilify mechanism, I mean giving patients the ability to interfere with that. Like
Yes,
previously you could
exactly what
cheek
I
your
meant.
pills, right? Now you can't even cheek your pills because the doctor's going to know if you're cheeking your pills or not.
Yes, that's exactly what I meant as well. Like
Okay, great. Okay.
to pollute to pollute the inputs of that chip and then pollute the request to their server or their phone. Especially that I think this thing, I think it works by a Bluetooth connection, right? I just yes, it's combined with a wearable Bluetooth patch capturing the medication ingestion objective, blah blah blah. But yes, in which case then that wearable Bluetooth patch is definitely, we can work on that, and I'm sure there are people who have already worked on that. In fact, let me just go on GitHub and check if there is
go to
something like that.
Go to Codes for a Cause. We have a member of Mind Freedom who's a Codes for Cause member. Maybe they could take this on as a project.
Yeah, well, I am as well. But let's see if we can get anything. Abilify myself. Probably not. I mean, but yeah, let me get back get back to you through email or our next meeting with voluntary meeting or something. I will do some more research about that
That'd
because
be fantastic. Thanks.
yeah, like I have so I think I can take another question, or Sarah, you can take another question before I have to go out to end this with another thing with my collaborator IRL. So yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you, Yutong. And please go ahead.
Yeah, Yutong, if you're still there, a lot of what you were sort of saying was very interesting, because that type of surveillance and technology around pharmacology hasn't actually reached the UK. So it's excellent in terms of me being knowledgeable of that use within the United States and other countries, because I can prepare some of my networks for the possibility of that being present here at some stage. But it also begs the question about prescribing through compliance rather than concordance.
Yeah.
You know, and that for me is a real ethical issue. When I was training as a social worker back in the mid-80s, it was a very radical time in social work in the UK. We were going through a terrible recession, a very reactionary government, and we were always told to work concordantly with people, alongside them, and with their consent as much as possible. Obviously, you've got to be also mindful of safeguarding issues, but in the main, we were told you must work concordantly and only use compliance when everything else has failed. And yet we do have community treatment orders in the UK, whereby people have to take their medication, and if they don't comply, they can be recalled to hospital. You know, which again is punitive, and it also conveys for me that we all make mistakes in life. We all make bad decisions. Why can't people in mental health take a risk of making a bad decision or a poor judgment? Everyone else does it. And why are we restricting that natural freedom that most of us enjoy? And there might be consequences to that, and we have to deal with that. But I really am opposed to compliance, if nothing else, because it rarely works. People will find a way of rejecting it or undermining it. It might work for a week or two, but people will resist and they will challenge it in some way. So it doesn't work in my experience anyway. You're far better at building a rapport with the person that's receiving that medication. Give them the information that they need so that they can make an informed decision. And ultimately, it might not be in their best interest, but I do believe people have the right to refuse or to reject it. You know, there are many people that I've come into contact that have found other ways other than medication to help manage their conditions. And who am I to judge whether that works or not? They certainly testify that it does work for them. So thank you, Yutong. That was really valuable to hear. Thank you.
Okay, thank you as well. And I had some other stuff that I probably want to talk about, but I don't have the time to. So I will just leave my contact information here again, my email and my Telegram. If you want to, I can talk a lot more about China, because China is it's insanely different from the US. It's extremely the situation is really bad compared to what you have in the UK and the US, and also with the technological size, with the hacking the chip thing, we can definitely also work on that. Sarah, maybe later today I will send you an email about different follow up on that. And
absolutely, thanks for the offer, Yutong, and for Enrique, just for other people that might have read the chat. I know that Yutong and I are kind of privately strategizing already on this issue of the Abilify technology, but I think that the greater issue is the one that Chris brought up, which is the ethics behind forced medication, the right to fail. And I would also pull into this the abysmal track record of predicting who will be violent, which is supposedly the reason why people are forcibly medicated. They're supposed to reach a threshold of danger to themselves or others, which is rarely achieved in a hearing. But anyway, that because there's no predicting that. But my interest in circulating a public hack for that Abilify pill would be simply to force the public to reckon with the ethics behind it, not necessarily to enable people to bypass their forced treatment, because I think that would help very few people, and the system would find a way to circumvent any efforts we made. So the thing is just to find any reason to get these issues into the public discourse back, get the media involved. The media is just silent on this issue, even though it's affecting hundreds of thousands of people. And so this might be one of the ways that we could do that. So thanks for listening, and I'll shut up now.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. I guess I probably gotta go. So let's talk maybe later about different kinds of details. And do you all have my contact information if you need it? I think I've put it in the chat, and then Enrique and Sarah already have that. So
I do. Thank you, Yutong.
Okay, great. To pride and solidarity, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Sarah, I share that you're asking for volunteers. That's correct,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
Fantastic. Come with me. I have to say. And well, yeah, the situation that Yutong has shared, there is the other layer of this, that it's so difficult to get to testimonies because of the surveillance and the punishment. If it's kind of complicated in our countries, imagine in that. So yeah. And by the way, Chris, yeah, I did my best to do the research you did in Spain. I couldn't for the chapter. Sarah, it is hard. It is hard even for researchers as he is social worker. With me, I should know because I'm an anthropologist. It's hard to get the testimonies, and it's painful for everybody involved at some point. So yeah, but it is there is a need to do it, and hopefully we can contribute as well, collaborate.
Yep.
If everybody agrees, I'm gonna introduce Antonio. He's an Ecuadorian medical doctor. The presentation is going to be in Spanish. He was forced to work in a prison controlled by one of the gangs in the country. He was almost killed there. This is common knowledge. The government is in, the current one, with the gangs, not doing what they should. That is a paradigmatic example of abuse. They do ask for any drugs, do whatever they want, kill people, etc. Antonio, nos explicas tú ahora la situación. We are going to switch the language of the subtitles. It's going to be translated from Spanish to English. And I hope that everything works. Antonio, si quieres presentarte.